views matter.
Hello everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Swastika namaskar to all the listeners. This is attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show, and today we're going to discuss about some issues, as many issues as we can on immigration, but also on civil rights and what's happening right now, especially in Portland. So all those are related because it shows some kind of change in the dynamic. So before I start, this is attorney Shah Peerally from the Shah Peerally Law Group, and anything I'm going to tell you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. And I have Michael with me. Thank you, Michael, for being really loyal and faithful and making things happen for us, and I really appreciate that. So we are going to talk, of course, and the studio lines will be open all the time now. 510-657-1170, 510-657-1170. If you want a consultation with me, you can call our office 510-742-5887, 510-742-5887, and the studio line again is 510-657-1170, 510-657-1170, and we are talking about immigration law and civil rights and human rights. We are going to kind of explain how all this affect you as an immigrant, and also if you are not an immigrant and citizen, how things are really kind of unfolding in a really worrisome manner, and at the same time see how things are going to possibly unfold in the near future. We just hope that things will get better, but it's not going to get better before it gets worse, so we have to be ready for that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is attorney Shah Peerally from the Shah Peerally Law Group. Our website is peerallylaw.com, 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 like my last name. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening first in Portland, because this is very sad what's happening. For one, we are seeing a lot of federal agents without any kind of identification, kind of going and arresting people, putting them in vans, etc., and then God knows what happens next. What you need to know is that there is something called the 10th Amendment, which gives the state the right to police its own borders. And technically all this happening, in fact, a judge in Oregon just declared this unconstitutional. Now the question is that will this be expanded? Because if it gets expanded, it might not limit itself to people demonstrating, but we might see this happening also for immigrants, and you need to be ready for that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about what's happening in Portland. For those living in Portland, probably you will know, but this is all over the news. But feds coming in and actually taking people like that randomly without any identification is technically not normal in regular times. In war times is different. But the argument that they are making is basically, well, the police of Portland is not able to control them. But that's not really a good argument, because the 10th Amendment gives states full rights and police powers. And again, if you want to call, I'm talking about one topic today, but you can call on anything: immigration, I-140 petition, H-1B, L-1 visa, O visa, national interest waivers, perm labor certifications. Feel free to reach out to us at the office, or right now on air. You can call us at 510-657-1170, 510-657-1170. And I'm talking a little bit about what's happening in Portland. But again, we're going to go back to the basics of immigration, of course, but this was important to mention because it's very much related to civil rights, and civil rights are related to immigration. The same thing for human rights violations that we might be seeing. These are all related to immigration, and in fact, a court in Canada declared that it's not safe for asylum seekers to actually live in the United States, and they are going to probably grant asylum. And I say probably because I don't know yet, and plus I'm not an attorney in Canada. I'm just saying that, but there's a chance that they might be granting asylum to people, basically asylum to people who pretty much left the U.S. Because they feel unsafe here. That's kind of sad because we have the reputation of being one of the most liberal countries in the world, and now it seems like things are really getting out of control, and it's going to get worse probably before it gets better. Now let us move to something else, which is the immigration side, and we are talking about employment base. As you know, EB2 moved to July 2009, and EB1 made a jump for India February 2018 on the final action chart, and then on the second chart, the filing chart, it moved to August 2009, 15 August 2009. Hold on, 15 August 2009 for EB2, and July 1st, 2018 for EB1. This is a big move. So I think we have one caller, right, Michael? Let me take the caller. Are you live in here? Hello.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Shah Peerally. Thank you for taking my call.
Good morning, sir.
I think President Trump has signed some executive order, holding up all the visa processing and green card and everything. My brother's company, they just sent his, started his green card processing. They filed for his green card processing. So what will happen now? I mean, are they going to just, hold it, or what is going to be the scenario going forward? Thank you.
No, not for the processing of people inside the U.S. So the labor certification, this is a good question, by the way. The labor certification is the first step for the basic green card, and that is still going on, and you can still go ahead and continue in that. As for the green card, it's down the road, especially if you're born in India. But there are three steps usually in the labor certification process to get the green card. Number one is the labor certification itself. Number two, the I-140. Number three, the I-485 adjustment of status. So the first two steps is available. You can still file. It has not been affected. It's the third step, I-485, which is questionable. But anyway, for India, there's a long waiting time. So not really when it comes to that. However, if he leaves the country and try to file anything from outside, that might be difficult. But until then, we have to wait and see. I think it's going to turn down after the elections. Right now, there's a lot of things happening due to that situation, but hopefully things will get better. But if he's inside the U.S., it won't really get affected. Okay?
So now his H-1B, he got the extension, but actual visa has expired. Now, can he travel outside the country? Because his
he
extension,
can travel, but he won't get a stamp right now. They won't issue any stamp right now. So as long as he got it inside, he has a change of status with a valid I-94. He's safe in the U.S. He just should not travel until things get better. So probably after December, things will be all right in some cases. So don't take chances right now to travel, although some cases are okay, they're getting the stamping, but still better not to travel. But as long as he has an extension or a change of status and it is valid on his I-94, he's safe. He can stay here. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello. Yes, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening, and thank you so much for calling. And we are talking, of course, about the situation happening with all the ban. It's very confusing. Well, in simple terms, if you're inside the U.S., pretty much most of the stuff are available. Not everything, but many things are available. Now, the question is to maintain status. As long as you can maintain status, you can jump from one status to another. But if the status breaks, unless you file for what we call a non-prompton, we also call it NPT, you might not be able to get back in status. And that's really the stressful part. If someone has lost status, for example, someone gets terminated, the grace period is passed, and they don't have any status, and it used to be very easy. You just file the case, get an approval. For example, an H-1B, you file it, you get an approval, you just take it outside, go and get your stamping and come back. But that part is a difficult part now, to go and get that stamping. Even many embassies are open. There is some kind of moratorium blocking many of those visas. So be very careful. Before you travel, give us a call or talk to a lawyer, or you can talk to us, 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. And again, this is Attorney Shah Peerally from the Shah Peerally Law Group, and today we are July 23rd, 2020, and we are live on Radio Zindagi, and I have Michael with me on the board. I wanted to thank you all for being with us. And last week we mentioned that it's our 10-year anniversary of the show this month. And God knows we know we're going to witness all the things happening right now. For one, we had the COVID. This year has been really, really tough on everybody. We had the COVID. Now, we not had the COVID. We have the COVID. We also have a lot of abuses that are going on. Excuse me. A lot of abuses in terms of, for example, people who are protesting are getting arrested, etc. And at the same time, some people are pretending to be demonstrators. They are looting and everything. So it's basically on both sides, and it's really sad for the country. I've lived in this country now for 25 years or so, and I've never seen this. And I don't think anywhere in the world people have seen anything like that before. Those who are my age probably never seen anything like that. Life was pretty good. I was just talking to a friend in the 80s, 90s. We thought that it was a world of hope. Hope was coming. We had a lot of hope. But now the new generation, more and more you talk to them, you can see that they fear that there's no real potential in terms of for their future. And it is important that you actually kind of come up with something new for them. So that's a different story. But we are talking about immigration, and of course we talk about the civil rights situation. And for those who don't know, without the civil rights, all the rights you see for immigrants here would not have been here. So you need to actually kind of make sure that you understand and you don't deny civil rights, because some people tend to say, okay, civil rights are only for the black people. Well, we are black in the first place. And second, it's not really that. It's also for people, for Asian people, for all the minorities, and even for people in the Caucasians, because many of them suffered and are still suffering at the lower end, and you can't just ignore that. So it is important that you understand what is happening on the side. So I highly recommend that you talk to an attorney if you're getting into any kind of trouble in immigration, and also if you are being arrested because of civil rights, based on civil rights violation. You might want to talk to an attorney, because I'm pretty sure after the feds crack down, there will be an enormous amount of lawsuits which are going to hit them. And they don't really care, because at the end of the day, it's the government paying and it's not their money. But bottom line, it will kind of cause a disbalance. Now, like I said, also we also have human rights violations in many countries of the world. Minorities are really getting hit. And if you are in the United States and you are one of those minorities, when in your home country they are really cracking down on you, you might want to look into an asylum. But like I said also earlier, asylum has become very difficult for asylum seekers now. Although it is still there, it is becoming almost an uphill battle. Anyway, it was an uphill battle. Now it's worse. So. Bear in mind that there are many other options still available for immigrants. Like, for example, you still have visas you can change to. Let's say you get terminated, you're not finding a job within your 60 days grace period. You can still go ahead and file, for example, a B1, B2. And again, if you need help, give us a call, 510-742-5887. And the number to the studio today is 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. And we are July 23rd, 2020. And hopefully we should be able to, I would be able to answer your question as much as I can. And the best part right now is we are in uncertain times. I'm getting one of the things also that you probably are aware of is the USCIS, which is a Department of the Department of Homeland Security. They are really kind of going through a hard time because they are not being funded. And the USCIS operates usually on fees, but since many applications are now not happening because of the situation, they are not getting paid, and if they don't get paid, the employees don't get paid, and when the employees don't get paid, many of them don't work, and when they don't work, what happens to your application? We are seeing a long delay, and I'm getting calls pretty much every day. What is happening? When do you expect things to go back on track? I can't answer that, unfortunately, because this is not really immigration. This is all political, plus it's also due to the COVID-19, which is really kind of taking lives right and left, and plus crippling the entire system. And with an ineffective administration, I should call it, we are facing a lot more problems. So at the end of the day, it's not really, it's all political right now, and many answers are no longer legal but political. But at the end of the day, we recommend that if you have any problems, it's good to have a second opinion. Or if you want us to help you, give us a call, 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. And this is Attorney Shah Peerally from the Shah Peerally Law Group, who were discussing in the beginning also about the visa bulletin, which is something that is very, very dear to the heart of people from India, because they've been waiting forever. And still the EB2 is really slow, although we are seeing the EB3 are doing better than the EB2. So the question is that should you go on EB3 or EB2? Well, from experience, the EB3 usually is slower, a lot slower. But lately, the reason you're seeing a lot of jump on the EB3 is that many people in the past 5-10 years, they have been trying to shift to EB2, which puts pressure on the EB2 and basically releasing the EB3. And now when people are seeing it's at EB2 is going slower, they're jumping back to EB3. So in 4-5 years from now, we might see the EB3 slowing down again. So it is important before you make a decision to jump from EB2 to EB3 to talk to a lawyer and assess your case. Although a lawyer cannot predict the visa bulletin, we can at least look into your case and tell you what are your other options. Some people might qualify for EB1 and they don't even know. So what we can do, we can take the priority date and we put it there. Okay, Michael, I thought we had some callers, but please let us know if you want to call. Feel free to call on anything immigration, 510-657-1170, 510-657-1170. And also, I was thinking that we are going to talk a little bit about how the visa built-in works, because a lot of people have been asking me. The way it works is that you have a pool of number of visas allotted per year, and what happens is that what it does, if there's 100,000 visas, for example, allotted for the green card, you get 105,000 applications. So 5,000 is borrowed from the next year. And the year next to that, you get 110,000. You're already 95,000. So they will borrow 25,000. And because of that, it has been going on for years. Now we are in this backlog. It used to be not such a backlog back before 2005, which I'm talking about here 15 years ago, because the perm labor certification there was no perm labor certification, by the way. It was just a regular labor certification, and it was taking almost taking almost at 2-3 years to get a labor certified, which means there was not so much pressure when they apply on the I-45. But ultimately, things have changed, and the backlog has started really getting worse and worse. And we have seen jumps, we have seen a sudden current situation, and many times the backlog. As for EB1, for years we didn't see any backlog, but now for India we are seeing backlogs pretty much every month. We have not seen current on EB1 for years now. So it is important that you know how it works. Although sometimes some of the calculations are questionable, it's not really in that situation. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back after those messages. But before we take the break, I just wanted to remind you, this is Attorney Shah Peerally from the Shah Peerally Law Group. We're live today is July 23rd, 2020. Feel free to call the studio line 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. The number to our office, 510-742-5887. We'll be back after those messages.
And now, from the San Francisco Bay Area studios, KLOK proudly presents to you the prominent attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show, coming at you with over 50,000 watts of power. The Shah Peerally Law Show, where all your views matter.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back for the Shah Peerally Law Show, and right now today is July 23rd, 2020, and we are talking, of course, about immigration and also all the issues related to immigration. And now we have been talking a little bit about the visa built-in, and a lot of people have been calling also on the ban. The ban, by the way, is not affecting people a lot inside the U.S. Although it is not that much compared to people outside. People outside are pretty much stuck, unfortunately, either because of the ban on the visas or because the embassies are not open. Although they have been opening the embassies lately, we are still seeing a backlog in the opening. So I highly recommend that before you travel, don't travel before you talk to an attorney. And for those who already travel, we also do phone consultations. So you can give us a call, 510-742-5887. And the number to the studio today is 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. And we are talking, of course, today about immigration law, human rights, civil rights, you name it. because we are seeing really a rise of the right wing, which I'm not really happy about. But at the end of the day, this was very much expected. With the COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, and that's another thing that is the most common that we are getting right now. People losing their jobs and out of jobs, and what do they do next? One of the options have been for those who couldn't travel to file the B1, B2. And if you need help on those, you can give us a call, 510-742-5887. We also have the options for many people about the other visas that they can qualify on. For example, some people have not they have not been able to be selected on the H-1B visa, and they are on student visa. They might qualify for an O-1 visa. So let us assess what is an O-1 visa. It is a visa for outstanding researchers, not researchers, but people of outstanding capacity, basically. So we can help you. It's not for researchers, by the way. I made a mistake here. It's EB1B, that is for researchers and professors. But O visas are just like H-1B, although it has a lot more advantage sometimes than H-1B. For example, the salary, etc., etc. It's a lot easier to deal with if you qualify for it. But of course, to qualify for it requires some work, and we have done many O visas very successfully. I know one client who called me. He said, I talked to my attorney. He said, it's not possible, but you guys made it happen. Well, it's not really us. It's basically you have it, but the approach that they are taking is not really the right approach, and we can help on that. So give us a call. Let us assess your case. 510-742-5887. Again, the studio line's number is 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. This is Attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show, and I have with me Michael on the board, and we're talking about immigration law, of course, and I know it's very depressing right now. People are going through a lot, and namely, one, the COVID. Second, we are having loss of jobs, and also things are getting really kind of stressful for people when they look at what's happening out there, and many of them it is important that you actually consult an attorney before you just make a move. A lot of people are ready to leave because they don't see a future, but at the same time, a lot of people want to stay. And for those who want to stay, even if you want to secure something to come back later, you can give us a call. We can do a consultation or an assessment of your situation and decide what is the best for you and what is the next move. And that's important that you talk to an attorney. And you can call me at the office, 510-742-5887. We can schedule a consultation and we can discuss about your situation. Now the other thing that we are seeing a lot is the delay in everything when it comes to immigration. And that delay, I spoke about that a little bit earlier, but that delay is also being caused by, number one, the COVID. Number two, we also have an underfunding of the agency, and that's really becoming very stressful. And as you know, the agency works on fees, and when they don't get cases, they don't get paid, and when they don't get paid, they cannot work. So, and plus Congress is not allocating any money to them. So bottom line, we are seeing more problems, of course, than solutions when it comes to the immigration. But at the end of the day, we're still finding solutions. So it is important that you talk to an attorney before you make a move, and you can call us 510-742-5887. And also the thing that I was mentioning at the beginning, the Portland situation. Why I was mentioning that is because this is being done basically by the feds of the Department of Homeland Security, the same department that controls USCIS, CBP, etc. And this is very worrisome when you see this kind of things in a country like America, where we have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. These are things that we see in quote-unquote banana republic, not in a country like America. But unfortunately, we are seeing it. And I see it also in many other countries in the East now. They are doing that to people, basically curbing down opinions, trying to arrest people. The fear tactic, basically, because even whistleblowers in some countries are being arrested. So it is really kind of sad, because the world is moving towards a system which we have always been reluctant of, really, not reluctant, but for good cause, I would say. Most of us were thinking that is just pretty much in the sci-fi movies, or not in reality. But this year has proven that sci-fi can be true. We have seen, the COVID-19, which is really the fear of the year. And if you have seen the movie Contagion, it's very similar to that, and many of the other movies like Outbreak, etc. And unfortunately, with the situation, we are not really seeing any kind of any kind of solution, except I heard today of Oxford finding some kind of vaccine, but I'm not going to comment on that because I have no idea how it works. Is it real? Is it working? And I heard India is going to be testing it. So let's hope, let's pray things will get better. But it's not getting better right now. Like President Trump was saying, yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Well, suddenly he's just saying that. But hey, it's been many experts have been saying that. So bottom line, what I'm saying is that things are not going to be fun for the next few months or even years. And a lot of our clients, and we are seeing a lot of people losing their jobs, and the layoffs are starting, many for people on H-1B. But the good news is that many are also finding other jobs. And in this case, how do they transfer? How do they deal with a situation if they have a situation of lapse after their grace period? As you know, if you get terminated, you have 60 days of grace period. What happens if you get your job after the 60 days grace period? All those questions are becoming really, really a headache, because many people don't know how to deal with that, and they wonder if they will actually be able to get back on track. Well, the answer is yes and no, because yes, you will probably be able to, but no if you don't do it properly, plus if you don't find a job, of course, it's no. So I recommend that if you need help, give us a call, 510-742-5887. And Michael, I don't know how much time we are left, but we're still taking callers. If the phone, if you're having issues with the phone, please give us a call again, 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. And you know also, yeah, we have another 20 minutes to go. So hopefully things will work out in that aspect. But another thing we are seeing also is a lot of people looking into other options than just the H-1B, for example. The O visa is a good example. If you're born in another country, if you get under EB-1, or if you have a previous priority date, you get an EB-1, you might be able to get an EAD pretty fast and really kind of get out of either the H-1B, the L-1, etc. So you need to talk to us if you need help. Give us a call, 510-742-5887. And the number to the studio today, 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. So now we're going to shift the subject and we'll go back to immigration, because this is also related to what's happening. As you know, as I was mentioning, a lot of people lost their jobs, are facing really undue hardship, and they are using their credit cards, and they keep using it, And now they're worried what happens because they're not getting back on a job or there's too much to pay. What do they do next? Well, one of the things we can do for you, we can negotiate those credit cards or some of your loans, depending what kind of loan, and we might be able to get you out of this with what we call a debt settlement. And you can read on it on the blog, yourdebtsettlementattorney.com, yourdebtsettlementattorney.com, or give us a call, 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. I'm sorry, I keep confusing those two numbers. So we are talking about here an option of avoiding bankruptcy if you have a lot to pay. And unfortunately, like I said, many of us actually now are pretty much living off the credit cards or debts or loans. And if they are unsecured debts, we can actually help you. And the blog to check is yourdebtsettlementattorney.com. And another thing that we have helped people in the past a lot is, especially when the house market went down in 2009, 2010, etc. Many people who had two loans on their houses found themselves on the second loan, for example, that the house is underwater, so the second loan is holding to nothing. For example, let's say you have $500,000 house, you had two loans on it. First loan is $350,000, the second mortgage is $150,000. And now the house, for example, is worth only $350,000. So $150,000 is holding to nothing. So, which means if in case there's a foreclosure, they cannot really get any of that money from anything because they get paid second. So what they will do oftentimes for you not to lose the house, they will actually negotiate with us so that you pay them a little bit and you get out of that loan, and which we call it the second mortgage settlement. And we have done a lot of those if you look in the past, and we have been helping a lot of people and we have gotten a lot of good results. So again, call us 510-742-5887. And we are talking about a lot of things happening, and they're all related because many people who come to this country are very dependent on the system. And the system works in a way that you are unfortunately stuck with paying bills while you're not getting any income. And that's where it gets really unfair on people, because a lot of people are losing their job, but still they're getting billed for utilities, they're getting billed for a lot of things. And that's the way the capitalist system works, right? You consume and they produce, and you keep consuming and you keep depending, and at the end of the day you're stuck in a vicious circle, and you take loans, you live off credit, and of course you end up by facing so many problems that you would not have faced had you not live in the system. But you are living in that system, so it is important that you deal with that. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you need help, you need to give us a call, 510-742-5887. So we're going to take a little break right now, Michael, and then we'll be back in after those messages, and we'll talk again about immigration. Thank you.
And now, from the San Francisco Bay Area studios, KLOK proudly presents to you the prominent attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show, coming at you with over 50,000 watts of power. The Shah Peerally Law Show, where all your views matter.
This is attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show, and today is July 23rd, 2020, and I have Michael with me. And before I start again, anything I'm telling you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. And one thing we mentioned last week, as you know, there was a big panic for student visas for those who were taking classes online. There was a possible executive order or proposed rule to actually kind of block, basically deport or ask people to leave the country if in case they were attending online classes. But luckily, due to a rainfall of possible lawsuit, the administration backed off on this, and they rescind the student visa policy that requiring the in-person attendance. And that's really good news, because a lot of people cannot go to school, and most schools don't have are not equipped to really take students unless online. So this is a welcoming thing, although this was not really worth it. And as you know, we are dealing with something major with the COVID, and it seems instead of focusing on that, we are pretty much kind of targeting immigrants, targeting the minorities, etc. And of course, this was to be expected from this administration, but nobody expected it to really get that bad. And also, for those who don't know, many U.S. consulates have been opening again in some places. I don't know for India, I don't have the information, but I know in Europe many of them are open now since July 15, and I don't know how it is going to work for people. The other news is that, of course, the visibility in EB3 really made a huge move for pretty much all the countries, and especially even India. So a lot of people have been asking me, should they move to EB3? The answer is maybe, because we don't know. And for those who filed a case under EB2, let's say you're at the perm labor certification level, and you are filing for an EB2, and then later you found out EB3 is better. Before you file the I-140, you can just file the I-140 under the EB3. So I repeat that. If you're in the perm labor certification, you started as an EB2, and then suddenly you prefer to go in an EB3, you can go ahead and do that before the I-140 is filed. Now, if the I-140 is already filed, there is a way to basically change that I-140 to EB3, but I have not done it personally, and I never tried. Most of my clients have not really been confident enough to try this, because it is not something easy. So you can still do that, but I don't recommend moving back and forth. Of course, you can refile in a different job position, although same company filing to perm is not recommended. But if you have another company, let's say for example you got your perm with company A under EB2, now you're moving to B and they want to file under EB3, so take advantage of that. So a lot of things happening, of course, in the immigration area. And a lot of people are getting worried because they can't go back to stamp their passport, especially if they fall out of status. When you fall out of status, one of the ways to get back on status is to really go outside the country after you have your approval to get your stamping and then come back. And unfortunately, we are seeing more and more that, unfortunately, there's a ban, plus many embassies are still closed, so there's no way you can really go outside and get back on track. So right now, stay put. If you are in the United States and you're falling out of status, or you have fallen out of status, give us a call, 510-742-5887. We can discuss what are the remedies for you. What can we do? What kind of things can be done to get things working. And of course, there's no blanket solution, because a lot of people will call me and they say, oh, they read this on the forum. Yeah, sometimes the forum really gives good information, but you have to remember, people writing on forums are people who really have specific cases, and many times they will not really kind of give you information, certain information for you to base your decision. For example, someone will tell you, oh, I got denied, my friend too got denied, but they didn't tell you in their case there was some kind of things faulty, or they didn't file properly, or they missed the deadline. Oftentimes they will not say that. So don't rely too much for the law based on those forums. However, you can of course use them to get guidelines, or to get referrals, or actually to check on the trend. For example, the U visa. And we have a forum too, you can use that. It's called splawforum.com. SP, S like Sam, P like Peter, law, LAW, forum.com. For example, the U visa, there's no tracking really for the U visa. So the only way that you can get the U visa done, get an idea what is happening on the U visa, is to hear other people's cases. So people will post, okay, I filed my U visa on so and so date, and now it got approved. So we have one caller. Let me take the caller. Shah Peerally, you're live on air. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes, I'm listening to you. This is Shah.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, thank you for taking my call. Actually,
yes.
I want to know that how long it's taking these days for the H4 extension approval, because for my wife, we applied that around January time, and my H1B extension approval already came in February, but after that there was an appointment which we actually missed due to the shelter in place, and after that there is no update for the rescheduling, or there is no update further.
Yeah, unfortunately what's happening is that number one, we had the COVID, and now we have another problem. The USCIS is underfunded, so there's no way to tell. But if you file since February, what I will do, I will try an inquiry, and I'll also talk to a congressman. You go online, type find my congressman, punch in your zip code, and then from there you can tell the congressman to help you and push the case. But there's no real timeline now, because we don't know. A lot of people are complaining about the same. Is the result of the funds that the USCIS don't have funds to work with. But the average time is usually 6 months.
Okay.
2 to 6 months. You're already out of that, so I would recommend trying to inquire or contact a congressman. But before you contact the congressman, it's good to make an inquiry call, and then you talk to the congressman and see if they can push it for you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very interesting question, because this is happening to pretty much everybody. The thing is just like we are seeing a delay on the cases. One, because of the COVID. Two, because we are basically faced with that situation with the USCIS specifically. And I hope this will be unclogged soon. And a lot of people keep asking me what happens next. What should I do? What can I do with my basically to get my case being processed? Well, unfortunately, there's not much you can do except doing those two things that I mentioned. Number one, call, get an inquiry, and number two, try to contact a congressman if they can help you. And I'm pretty sure people listening, they will agree with me that this is pretty much out of the control. There's no way to push them, because they don't have the capacity to really process the cases. So, ladies and gentlemen, we still have another 5 minutes to go, right, Michael? 5 minutes. So I am going to recap what we talked about today, and of course, hopefully, I will also post this this show today on our podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/Shah Peerally Law, and hopefully you will be able to get that information there. And the few things that I was mentioning earlier, number one, the Portland situation with the civil rights movement and the feds pretty much arresting a lot of people. This is really kind of stressful because that's a bad sign for people who will understand me. Technically, the feds don't have the right really to act this way because it's under the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution. The state has the full right to police its own borders. Because if you look at the United States, it's kind of a group of states or countries, right? Each state have certain laws that are enacted by them and they are particular to them. And immigration is a federal law, so it means it applies to all the states the same. But, for example, real estate laws are different in California than you will see probably in Arkansas or in Nevada. Criminal law, kind of, for example, in some states, marijuana is legal, but some other states it's not legal. And these are the kind of situation that has been resolved under the U.S. Constitution, giving certain powers to states to really kind of police themselves is one of them. And there are many other things under the Constitution that pretty much now are really in danger, and that's really kind of worrisome. And that also can lead to issues with immigration. So that's why I was talking about that. The second thing that we saw, visa bulletin, jump on EB3 for every country. A lot of people asking me, should they move to EB3 when they're on EB2? So please call us if you need help on that, want us to assess the situation. And also, we talk a little bit about debt settlement, which is something that a lot of people now will need help on. So feel free to reach out to us, 510-742-5887, 510-742-5887. And finally, the delays that we are seeing in all the cases are due to the COVID-19 situation, plus the underfunding of the USCIS. Hopefully, there is a vaccine coming. It will change the whole dynamic, and we pray for that. I wish everybody the best of the week, and also feel free to reach out to us, 510-742-5887. And I thank Michael for being here for me and for all of us. And also, anything I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. Take care. Bye-bye. We'll be back next week, same time. Thank you.